Okay, so today we are reviewing for our test tomorrow that covers all of Chapter 4. In the first slide, we're finding the GCF and the LCM of numbers and monomials. So we're going to start with numbers, 110 and 220. All right, so we do the prime factorization and list our prime factors. Do you guys have that? Y'all have your prime factors? Okay, what do I do now? Group them up, okay? So 2, 5, and 11, when I multiply them, I get 110. All right, then when I do my LCM, what's the one extra step for LCM?
Multiply the rest.
Bring in the leftover numbers and multiply them. All right, and then I get 220. Now, it's not always going to work out that it basically is the original problem, okay? That's actually very rare, but the process is still the same. Prime factor, match up your common factors, multiply them into your GCF, and bring your leftovers over for the LCM. Any questions on the numbers? Okay, so now let's do monomials. Okay, so now for the monomials, we've got 20a to the 7th b to the 5th, and 66a to the 3rd b squared. Again, prime factorization, and now we list out all the expanded form of our factors. Now what do? Same thing that we did with numbers. We're going to match up our common pairs. I still have people forgetting to do the variable part. They only do the number part and leave all the variables off. Okay, so don't forget. Do all the groups, including the variables. So we have a 2, 3 A's, and 2 B's. Who got that right? Okay. Now go ahead and continue that on, and I want you to find the LCM. Okay, so now look at this. 2 times, and now bring in all your leftover numbers. Times 2, times 3, times 5, times 11. What number do you get?
660.
660. And now let's just look back up to our list. We're not going to write them all out. But we have 3 groups of A. And how many leftovers?
3.
4. So how many A's total? 7. A to the 7th. How many B's?
B to the 5th.
1, 2, and then plus 3 more. B to the 5th. Okay? All right, who got it right? 668 to 7, B to the 5th. All right, so that's your first 4 problems on your test tomorrow, just like it was on your quiz and your review sheet. Okay, so all right, so that's monomials. Now let's, I think simplifying fractions is next. Now let's simplify these 3 fractions. What do we simplify first? The numbers. Then we simplify the exponents with a common base. Let me ask you this, because this is a very common mistake I saw in the quiz yesterday. What understood exponent is after the m in the denominator?
1.
A 1. So when you are subtracting them, you would subtract a 1. So many people saw nothing and subtracted nothing. But remember, there's an understood 1 there that we must subtract. All right, we're going to start with the first one, get the first one done at least, and then we're going to go over that one, and we'll take kind of a pause in between each question so you can make adjustments. Goodness. Okay, all right, so we reduce the number, 63 over 27, 7 over 3, oops, okay, and now 5 minus 1 gives me m to the 4th, n to the 6 minus 1 gives me n to the 6th, or n to the 5th. Who got that right? Who got that one right? The first one. Okay, now go ahead, now that I kind of can see that most everybody did it right, do the last 2. Okay, finish up the last 2. Okay, 24 over 15 reduces to what? 8 over 5, yes. W squared z to the 6th on top. Who got that one right? Okay, good. We're doing well. All right, now on the third one, you multiply 2 times 36 to give you 72. W to the 14th. Who got that part? Did you get that part? Multiplying to condense or simplify the top. Now divide it by the bottom. Reduce the numbers to 4. It's a whole number. W to the 10th.
So I skipped the middle step.
I
I still got 4 W to the 10.
I don't know. You need to combine the numerator. Okay? All right, so that's simplifying fractions. Now, this next slide is probably the part that I saw the most mistakes on for the quiz. Product of powers and quotient of powers. So I'm going to try to hit on all of the, mistakes that I saw and clear up any confusion. Go ahead and do these 4 problems. First one, the number 10 is our base, so I need to add the exponents to make 10 to the 13th power. Did y'all get that? Okay, now I need you to see the difference. On the first one, the number is the base, so I do not multiply them together. On the second one, the number is not what the common base is for an exponent. The x is. Okay, so that's one mistake that I see. 5 times 4 is 20. Now, is it x to the 9th or x to the 10th? To the 10th. Because there is an understood 1. You have to understand that. I had someone in another class say, I thought that was a 0. If it was a 0, it would be written as a 0, and then it would cancel it into a 1, right? That's different. If there's nothing there, that's an understood 1 that must be added. X to the 10th. X to the 10th. All right, now next one. Divide and reduce. M to the 8th is left on top. Who got that one right? Okay, good. We're doing better. On the next one, there are no numbers, so 7 is by itself. Subtract to y to the 3rd. Did anybody get all 4? All 4?
I got a question.
Okay, anybody miss 1? All right. Okay, so now let's do negative exponents. For negative exponents, this is the area where I saw some struggles, how to make them positive, which part to write in the opposite side of the fraction, how to add and subtract them, so we're going to go over all of that. Okay, so what is negative 8 plus negative 7?
Negative 15.
Negative 15. You keep your common base. So now I write it positive by writing it in the opposite side of the fraction. That makes it positive. Who got 1 over 5 to the 15th? Who got that? Good. Okay, now on the next one. 2s to the negative 5 plus 3 is 2s to the negative 2nd power. Which part of this is negative, the 2 or the s? The s. So the s is the only part that has to move. It's already in the numerator, understood to be over 1. So I move s squared into my denominator. 2 stays on top. I saw many people, this is probably the most common mistake, I saw them drop the entire term into the denominator. The 2 has to stay in the numerator. Does that make sense? Okay, so now let's look at the second one, or the third one, I mean. Did you catch the double negative?
Yes.
What happens to the double negative? Becomes a positive 2w to the 8th. All right, now 5b to the negative 5 minus 4. What is negative 5 minus 4? Negative 9. Which part goes in my denominator?
The b negative 1.
Only the b. B to the 9th. That's not a 6. It's a b. B to the 9th. 5 over b to the 9th. All right, scientific notation. This is my home stretch. Hopefully my gimme problems. Go ahead and in the first column, write these numbers using scientific notation. In the second column, write these numbers in standard form. All right, so what's my decimal value for the first one? 4.62 times 10 to the what power?
9.
Nope.
7.
To the 7th power. You have to count how many decimal places did you go from the original over to the new, and that's 7 decimal places. 10 to the 7th. What about the second one? 1.04 times 10 to the 5th power. Again, how many from old over here to the new place? All right, now what about the third one?
I put 5.
Times 10 to the what? -4. Did you make it negative? Okay, I graded quite a few yesterday that forgot to make it negative. 1.06 times 10 to the -5th power. Now let's do standard form. On the top one, how many zeros must I add after the 8? 2 more zeros. Put in your commas. That's a 4. There's 2 decimal places. Okay? Now, when it's negative, I must add the zeros before the number. I already have 1 decimal place, so how many more zeros do I need? 8 more zeros. Now, yesterday I literally saw this, okay? No decimal point here. I saw 8 zeros, and then, let's just say for example, and then they left their decimal point in the 3.8 and put all those zeros before it. Is that going to do me any good? No. You've got to put the decimal place out in front of all those zeros. All right, now it's in standard form. Okay, 2 zeros or 1 zero in front of the 9. Okay, how many zeros after the 7 on the last one?
3.
3 more zeros. All right, any questions on scientific notation? This one was a pretty strong section for most of you. You also may have and put them in order from least to greatest question. Okay, what's the first thing you look for to figure out the value? The exponent. Are there any exponents in here that are smaller? The 3. So this one is the smallest no matter what the decimal value is. 4.3 times 10 to the 3rd. Yes, Manuel. I'll take a look at it. There might be something else wrong with it. All right, so now my other 2 is 10 to the 4th and 10 to the 4th. Okay, so now since there's a tie with the exponent, what do I look at? The actual decimal value. So then I go 3.2, because that's smaller, times 10 to the 4th, and 4.4 times 10 to the 4th. Okay? And there we go. All done. Least to greatest. So the exponent 10 to the 3rd, Sarah, is smaller than 10 to the 4th, so it doesn't matter what the decimal value is. And then for these last 2, since it was a tie, I did the smaller decimal value first. If you understand that, that's everything you need to know for Chapter 4 test.